How do you find the time to start your first business when your job is taking up your whole week and stopping you from getting started? Look, I want to explain to you that the problem that you're having is you have this desire to start your first business. But the job that you're working this 9 to 5, you're giving up all your hours for your manager, for your boss. And by the time that you get home, you are totally exhausted, you lack so much energy, and you just haven't got the willpower to get started with your first business. But in this video, I want to share with you some of the strategies, some of the ideas that you can use right away today to start building your first business on the side while you work. Now, there's two parts to this. The first part to this is actually finding the time in your week. So when I started my business, I was working from about 8 a.m. in the morning. I was so stressed out with the amount of work that I had to do, the workload that I had on. I ended up sometimes working till 7 in the evening. I was so short on time, and that's what I wanted to escape from. I didn't want to do that anymore. But what I would do in that situation is I'd find every little bit of free time that I had to work on my own business. Look, it's not sexy in the beginning. If you've only got half an hour on a day, that's not going to move the needle massively, but it is something. It's something to grow your business. And doing 30 minutes to create a better life for yourself in the future is, of course, better than doing nothing at all. So I would find every little bit of free time that I could. So in the mornings when I got up, if I had half an hour free, I would do a bit then on my business. In my lunch breaks as well, because the contract I was in, I didn't get paid for having lunch breaks. They stopped paying at that time. So what was the point in working in the in their business, in my job, if I wasn't getting paid for it? So I'd use that lunchtime to do things. I had to be careful because people are around, my bosses was around. So I had to be careful about what I was doing. But I'd use that time to work on my business as well. And then when I got home, I would use any bit of an hour or a couple of hours in that time as well to work on my business. Maybe you've got 2 hours free, maybe you've got 15 minutes, maybe you've got 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. Just use whatever time you have. And at the weekends, when you're off, perhaps you dedicate a bit more time where you can just focus, you can just knuckle down. I get it. You might have a partner, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, wife, husband who wants to spend time with you. Spend time with them. But remember, if you've got kids as well, spend time with them, be present with them. But remember, if you change nothing today in your life, if you don't do anything different to create a better life for yourself in the future, you cannot expect your future to be any different as well. So if you do have a partner, if you do have kids, perhaps you need to have that private conversation with them and say, look, I want to create something for the family. I want to create something better for our life. I'm going to be spending a bit more time working on this for the next year so I can quit my job and spend more time with you. So you have to be honest. You just have to have that upfront conversation. I was really blessed. And I will say in my situation, I didn't have kids. I was single at the time, so I could dedicate a lot more to it. But here's the thing. Like I said, if you've just got half an hour, use that half an hour, put it to good use. So that's the first thing. So it's about creating that time for yourself. And then think about where can you be more effective with your time. So on a Sunday night, I wanted to look presentable for work, so I'd iron my shirts on a Sunday evening, and that would take me, about 90 minutes, up to 2 hours, just going through, ironing them, getting them all neat and tidy. Because then I had them all week. But then I thought, actually, how can I save myself some time here? And there was a local dry cleaning store. And for £10, you could get £10 a week, you could get 5 shirts done. As I was working 5 days a week, happy days. So I had £10 a week, £40 a month, I'd get all my shirts ironed. That would save me, that £10 spent every week would save me 2 hours a week that then I could work on my business. So how can you be more effective with your time? Is there anything that you could is there any low value task, like ironing your shirts, for instance, that you could hand over to somebody else? What about doing your food shopping? Instead of wandering around the shops for an hour, 2 hours, and thinking about what you're going to buy, why don't you just set it up in an online food basket wherever you shop, and then just schedule it so the food that you want comes every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it is. And do it that way. That way you're just clawing back any bit of time that you can use to work on your business. As well, now with technology, there are so many tools out there that you can be implementing. For example, I have a tool right now which I'm using, and to do videos, to do content like this, to do a long video, it would take me about 3 hours to record it, upload it, edit it, get it set up on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever it is. And that is a lot of time. But now with new technology, with AI, there's a piece of software and I can put in, I'll put a link to it in the description, but I can put in my content and in 15 minutes, it will have that content edited and sorted, ready for me to upload. I'm now able to 10 times the output, the amount of content that I'm able to do. I wish I had this tool when I was starting in business, but I didn't. But the great thing is you do have it. So you can use this tool right now to help you get out there more, to help you be more visible, if that's the route that you're going to go down. And then the last part of this, I want you to understand, it's a mindset shift that you've got to make. Because I get that you're tired, I get that you're low energy, I get that you are struggling for time and you've got maybe kids or family or friends that need your attention, you've got to take care of your health, so you're exercising, so it's everything else that you've got to sort out as well. But let me remind you, nothing is going to change unless you do something differently today. As I said, nothing will change unless you do something different today. So you have to dig deep, you have to find whatever bit of willpower, no matter how you're feeling. Your future self does not care about how you feel right now. What it cares about is you doing the action that is going to get you to where you want to be, to get that first business started, to start putting yourself out there, to start making sales so that you can get your income up to match your job income so you can quit for good. And so whatever it is that you're feeling, whether your boss has annoyed you, whether he's pissed you off, whether they're stressing you out with workload, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, that's not going to change your life. And if you can sit here for the next 12 months, 5 years, feeling miserable, feeling tired, but the only person that can change your life and do something about it is yourself, that's when your trajectory shifts. That's when you start moving to a better life for yourself and you're able to quit your job. So remember this. First off, find off whatever free time you have, use it to be working on your business, whether that's early mornings, lunch times, half an hour in the evening, weekends as well. Have those honest conversations with your friends or your children if you need to. The second part of this is how can you leverage tools, software, other people to win back some more time for yourself. And then lastly, it's that mindset shift that you've got to make. You've got to dig deep and you've got to find that energy no matter what mood you're in, no matter how down or miserable or tired you feel, you've got to dig deep and drive that business forward, because nobody else can come and save you and do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And if you think about an airplane taking off, it expels the most energy when it's taking off. The amount of force it has to exert to get tons of metal and aircraft up in the air and up to altitude is huge. The amount of fuel that is spent in that situation. But once it's at altitude, then it's cruising. And it's the same for you. You're going to have to expel a lot of force and energy to get up to height, to get up to altitude and get that momentum going for yourself. But once you're up there, you've got that momentum behind you, you can keep going and that energy is going to carry you forward. And when you get results, it's going to excite you more and you're going to want to put more into it as well. So I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments. If you want to know about the content editor that I'm using and what helps me put out even more videos, I'll put a link to that there in the chat box as well, in the description.